It's not just about feeling good about yourself. It's about feeling good about what you do for yourself and what you do, how you express yourself. I'm coming to realize that, regardless of how much you posit, you know, affirmation to yourself, regardless of how you try to feel about yourself, it doesn't matter as long as you continue to put yourself down via your actions. We need to, in some ways, embody, embody that appreciation, embody those reasons why we should appreciate ourselves. And I'm not just saying that in a sense like, you know, I always say like do a push up and pat yourself on the back, but it works in the same accord. It's about feeling good about where you're tending, feeling good about what you're doing, and also feeling good about yourself while you're doing it. It's about how those things work in duality. And I'm just not figuring this out because I just had to write a philosophy paper, and I had a free topic, and I wrote about being in life instead of trying to see it, and also like the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And it's like the Earl Nightingale, The Secret. And I'm coming to realize that it's not just about, you know, feeling good about yourself to your highest degree. It's about feeling good about what you're doing to the highest degree. And it's when those two things sort of coexist, sort of meet, that we're able to truly go beyond. When we're able to bring things into ourselves that are truly beneficial and truly characteristic of who we are. And when I think back, when I think about it, it only makes sense. I might just be spitting. I might just be spitting right now, but it makes sense to me. You if we even reference my channel, if we reference the success I've had with this, I feel like the times it did best are the times where I had the most time to focus on it, the most time to feel good about it, the most time to devote time to it. And I'm not saying that like I'm doing it to do it because I'm doing it regardless. And regardless of how it is, like I had finals week. I just wrote a paper, 5 pages. I had to get it done by before midnight, and I'm realizing that in regards to my channel, um, the more time, the more vested I was, the more I was practicing the things I preach. The more I was treating myself like a friend, the more I was meditating, the more I was writing my affirmations day and night, the more I was being consistent with my schedule of self-care and trying to branch out and find new ways to express myself and find new ways to worth myself. Everything became more of a reflection of that. And the things I did, things I'm proud of, like I'm proud of what I do on this channel. I'm proud of the way I express myself. The more pride I felt for that, not necessarily the more I expected from it, the more pride I felt for my own creation in general, the more pride I felt for myself. When you mix those two together, all you get is success. It's about tending towards something worthy, but not necessarily in the sense of uh just subjective worth. It's about slight inherent objective worth in a sense, but in some ways objectivity is just group subjectivism. It's the way everyone tends towards something that makes it sort of grounded in fact group belief in a sense. But I feel like I'm just spurting, but I feel like it's really important to convey the meaning and the idea that you know how you feel about yourself is important. And I know I made a video like this is your sign to go all in. I mean, this is your sign to lock in. Like, it's about having that foundation for yourself. Not necessarily just feeling good about yourself, but having those things to ground you in that feeling. You know, like not necessarily just saying, "Oh, I love myself for this. I love myself just for existing," because you can, and those are good too. But I feel like part of being healthy and part of experiencing what it is to live a happy life is having that stability of self. And I feel like some of that stability of self is grounded in our expression, grounded in the way we act. That's why I said we have to focus on controlling our reaction, focus on doing all that, because that's the way you are in an external sense. And the more we focus on that, the more backing we have to ourselves, the more we can, look back and say, oh, well, I know I'm this way. No, I can have pride in this because I am this way. This is, the way I am. And you can find comfort in that, find peace. And I'm realizing the more you can do that, the more you allow yourself to do that, the more you venture out create things, create opportunities, and express yourself in a way that's befitting of you, express yourself the way that you want to be expressed, then no matter what happens, you get knocked down. When you stand back up, you have something to reference. You have a self to come back into because you already did it before. And it's not necessarily a time thing, it's just a relative have thing. It's a relative are. You know, I know the way I am, not necessarily just because of who I am right now in this moment, but the way I express myself and the way I intentionally express myself previously. And I think it also goes hand in hand with intention, because you know, if you're just doing something you can't excuse me, allergies. If you're just doing something and it's not necessarily tending towards a purpose, or you're not really conscious of that tending, you know, it still has the same effect. But I feel like, you know, part of that affirmation of self while you're doing something that is worth affirmation is about realization. It's about a conscious realization that what you're doing is tending towards something, and a conscious realization of your intention towards it. Because I feel like the true spoils of that mental health and when it comes to self-help are from your intention. Like if you intend to do something and you actually achieve it, then it's so good. It's like, I did it. That was willed out of me, you know, in a sense. And I feel like those are the important moments in our life. Those are important instantiations of what it means to be a human, or just a person in general that's tending towards something. And that's why I feel like it's so important. I had to hop on here. I literally just wrote the paper, and I was like, you know, this idea is sort of new to me, you know, and it's kind of inspired by Susan Wolf's The Meaningful Life. I had to read it for my class, but she lucky went off. Like, she was talking about how what is it? It was basically, once your desires meet some type of subjective attraction, what objective worth meets subjective attraction in a way. Basically saying that once you're tending towards something that actually has worth inherent to itself, and you feel good about yourself and have that desire for that something, it makes it meaningful. Now, when it comes to ourselves and our progression of self, we have to realize that working on yourself is an action that is worth. And feeling good about working on yourself only makes it better. So it's not necessarily about realizing the ways in which you are inadequate, but realizing the ways in which you're going to get better. Realizing the ways in which you're already great, and realizing the ways you're still going to increase. And I talked about that in my video. This is trying to go all in, and I'm realizing, you know, parts of that philosophy that I sort of undermined or neglected. Like looking yourself in the mirror, realizing the flaw, but saying to yourself, "I'll be greater when that is regulated. I'll be greater once that's addressed." It's like treating yourself like somebody important, acting like you're somebody important to yourself, realizing the responsibility you bear just by existing. You know, I feel like that's the beauty that kind of encapsulates the human experience. And the whole general idea of locked in culture or grinding is about moving forward. It's about realizing your worth and realizing how you want to express that worth in something that is worth something to you. Once you meet those two things, that's when I feel like work becomes play. That's when I feel like what you do becomes a being instead of a action. Because I feel like that's the way. That's sort of what tending towards is. You know, the way, in a sense, is becoming your art, becoming your expression without conscious undermining. You know, having your intentions be expressed without your conscious effort. Your body sort of keeping track, your mind sort of keeping track, your spirit sort of keeping track of what you want and doing it on its own. Not saying that you'll be like completely void of this, but saying you'll be so in the moment you don't have time to be overly conscious, overthink, and be overstimulated about something that's out of your control in a sense. You know, or things that aren't in your control. Just having faith in the self. Faith in the idea that what you're doing is going to tend towards what's best for you because you care about yourself, because you love yourself, because you want to, increase, you want to do better. That's what I feel like it's about. And if I was to relate this to like self-love or something like that, because I feel like that's also important. It's about loving yourself enough to go towards that passion. I'm not saying leave your job. I'm not saying leave things like that, because it's not necessarily about what you get from it. It's about how it makes you feel. So, do whatever makes you feel most like yourself. Do whatever makes you feel most appreciative of it. Make it something that's worth something to you, and feel good about yourself while you're doing it. Realize that regardless of what happens, you have this instantiation, this expression of your human ideal, your expression of self. And realize that you're beautiful regardless of it. You're beautiful with it. You're beautiful because of it, because it came from you. And that's why I feel like everyone has to tend towards some sort of expression. Everyone has to, not necessarily has to, but everyone should, find those things that make you feel most like yourself. I feel like once we find those things that make us realize that we are someone that we can actually genuinely bond with, someone that we can genuinely appreciate, the whole sum of life becomes something worth appreciating. It's about getting to the point where, you start to see yourself in everything. You start to feel yourself in every expression, whether that be yours or other people's. Just seeing yourself in everything, in the sense that whatever you find appreciation in, or whatever you see, you can find appreciation in. And I know I sort of went off on a tangent this one. I would ask y'all in the chat to let me know if I cooked, but I don't know. This is one of them ones. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you didn't, I did. I hope you learned something. I hope it helped somebody. If it didn't, it helped me. I really just wanted to get this on here and document it, because I wrote it down and I didn't necessarily know if it was something I was gonna, make an excerpt from, because it was for a class. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As y'all can see, I got the braids in my hair. My head is banging, but that's besides the point. I hope everybody's treating themselves like someone they're trying to help, being intentional, but also tending towards something, and sort of embodying the way you want to feel about yourself through your actions. Be like, I want to feel a certain way about myself, and what do I need to do in order to feel that way about myself, and do it. But don't be a harsh critic. Don't be too hard on yourself. Be realistic, but also be intentional. Thank you.